Hello, and welcome to Food in Art, a wonderful opportunity for you to get a taste of how two human concerns, nourishment and beauty, have blended together through the centuries to create masterpieces. I'm art historian Elizabeth Lev, and I hope that you'll enjoy these bite-sized pieces of fun, facts, faith, and beauty about food. The ancient Greeks produced a tremendous amount of art, whether in sculpture or in reliefs, or particularly in painting vases. And while a great deal of the art celebrates banquets and offerings, by far and away, insofar as food is concerned, the Greeks were interested in representing wine. The Greeks are the ones who, although they did not invent wine, they brought wine culture to the Mediterranean, cultivating grapes even as they left their own lands and began to colonize the Italian peninsula. They recognized in the Italian peninsula such possibility for the growing of grapes for wine that they originally named that land Onetria, the land of the tamed vines. So in the Greeks' production of vases, a huge number of the vases were meant for wine service, like the numerous types of glasses that we produce today for Burgundy or Bordeaux or Champagne wines. The Greeks had numerous vases for the preparation and the serving of wine, many of which were decorated. This one here happens to be from Magna Graecia, from the Greek colonies that have been inserted into the area that is today known as Puglia. And on it we see the representation of a symposium. Modern day listeners would probably think symposium sounds like a bunch of academics sitting in a room talking about papers and things that four people understand. But symposium is actually the Greek word for drinking party. And so you see a group of men who are on their kylix, couches, which is where we get our word recline. There are grapes everywhere. The border of the vase is a series of grapes. The men wear fillets in their hair, with one of them in the middle who has a few little grapes on it. Occasionally they would wear leaves around their heads because they believed that wearing heavy leaves around one's head would help to prevent hangovers. They are reclining and they are holding wine cups. The Greeks believed that wine was better drunk in large, wide cups. One of the reasons for this was moderation. It would slow down the speed with which a man could drink by holding in both hands and lifting it slowly. The middleman plays a game with the dregs of the wine. Wine was unfiltered, it was heavy, and it was very strong in ancient Greece because the powerful Mediterranean sun ripened the grapes filled with sugar. And so it would leave dregs at the bottom of the cup. And the Greeks played a game called kotabos, swirling the dregs in the cup and hurling them against a wall to hit a mark, kind of like modern-day darts. Below, you see some food. On the table, you can see pomegranates, and a low tray probably was meant to contain fruit or bread. Fundamentally, what you're looking at is a lovely image of wine, women, and song, something Greeks enjoyed in this life and hoped for in the afterlife. Greek wine, however, was something that was very, very powerful. Therefore, the Greeks made a point of cutting wine with water. And so we can see some of the vessels that were used for wine service in front of us. The jug on the right-hand side with the two large handles was an amphora. An amphora was used to contain water or wine. It means amphora, two ears, alluding to the double-shaped handles of the jug. It would be placed into a larger bowl called a crater, which was used for mixing. The wine and the water would be mixed and then served in the kylix, which is the name of that low plate and where we get the word chalice. The amount of wine that was to be prepared was a very careful decision to be made on the part of the symposiarch. The symposiarch was basically the modern-day sommelier. The way a sommelier would decide how many bottles are suitable for a party, the symposiarch decided how many craters would be appropriate for an evening. In a remarkable fragment of a play discovered by a man named Eubulus, there is a story of the god of wine, Dionysus, acting as symposiarch. And he gives us the recipe for the amount of wine to serve for a perfect dinner party. He says, "For sensible men, I prepare 3 craters. 1 for health, which they drink first, 1 for love and pleasure, and then 1 for sleep. After that, wise men go home, for the 4th one is no longer mine. It belongs to bad behavior. The 5th is for shouting. The 6th is for rudeness and insults. The 7th is for fights. The 8th is for breaking the furniture. The 9th is for depression. And the 10th is for madness and unconsciousness." The Greeks always had a wonderful way of including temperance into all of their stories involving wine. A reminder that wine is fine, but in moderation.